All right, welcome everybody. We have guest Jesse Martin on. Since it's your first time, I always have, well, secondly, your first solo one, because I do have that one where we discussed politics.
Oh, yeah.
Last year with Lawrence, that whole crazy thing. But since it's your first solo one, just let everybody know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm, can you hear me all okay on your side?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm Jesse. I've lived in Grand Rapids my whole entire life. I have a lot of different hobbies and different things that I like to do. I've been doing real estate since I was 18 years old, and just jumped right into that after high school. Yeah.
What made you want to go into real estate?
Yeah, so my dad did it, and he was always my soccer coach in middle school and all that. So I always wanted to do that for my kids too. I think that was the main point of it all, you know. It's just
Family business type thing?
family business, but then also being there for my kids one day whenever, you know, I can be the coach, you know, of their soccer team or whatever team it is.
Oh, because you have a lot more free time when you do real estate?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Has it been more difficult with the housing market these days, or is that just propaganda? Is it really not as bad as they say?
I mean, the amount of houses that go over asking is bizarre, I would say. Like probably 10-20% over asking most houses.
Over asking?
Yeah, over like the like what they're asking for price. It goes over top of that, probably 10% at least.
And that's a lot.
That's a good amount. I mean,
Okay.
we're talking about 20-30 grand over asking. Yeah.
Oh, is there a reason? Is it just because the more money that's thrown at them, they're like, okay, those are the people that we want to sell to?
That, and we just have a really big gap in the market right now where, you know, we have way more people looking for housing than there is houses. So you're getting like 30, 40 offers on one house. So 40 different people that want to buy that one house. And there's not 40 houses. There's only maybe 4 or 5. So that's the tricky part. It's just really low inventory. So with every thing, you know, let's say if there's only 5 of a certain shirt that came out and everybody wants that shirt.
Yeah.
That shirt's going to go for a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what happened to all the houses? Not being built?
Well, Grand Rapids is growing a lot.
That's right. Is it just a Grand Rapids thing, you think?
Not entirely, but Grand Rapids is definitely growing. What we're seeing in Grand Rapids is probably where Austin was 5 years ago. So
we're becoming the new Austin.
We're not as big as Austin, but
Yeah,
the numbers wise is what we're seeing, you know, and different businesses are coming to Grand Rapids is what we're seeing.
The growth, yeah.
Yeah.
That's maybe exciting.
It's super exciting.
Is it?
Yeah.
What makes Austin so special is where I'm going. I know Joe Rogan's podcast is there now.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
You know, there's a reason why Joe Rogan went there, though, too, right?
Yeah.
You know, he could have gone probably anywhere he wanted in the whole entire world. He went to Austin. I actually have one of my friends from high school, or kind of my childhood friend, who left in high school and went to Austin. It's a very weird place. I've been there a couple times and it's weird, you know. It's almost like have you been to like Portland, Oregon at all? Have you heard things about Portland, Oregon?
I've heard a lot about Portland, and then I also used to watch Portlandia.
Okay. Yeah. So you understand kind of the culture there and different things like that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little weird. They want to keep it weird too. Well, Austin has that same thing, but the difference is there's also cowboy hats. So it's a bunch of hippies with cowboy hats, basically, is what I would say Austin is.
So it's a good balanced mix.
It's a good balanced mix, but it's also like just this weird pot of people that go there.
Well, like the way Joe Rogan describes it is it's a blue city in a red state.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's like that.
Austin created the breakfast burrito. So that's part of like the Tex-Mex culture there too.
What makes a breakfast burrito?
Eggs, probably. Right? Eggs, maybe
Yeah,
some
I
other
know,
things in it, but mostly
didn't-
eggs.
I didn't know that they created it. I thought it was just a thing that kind of popped up out of nowhere.
No, yeah, they created that. And then Grand Rapids is actually known for the wet burrito.
Really?
Yeah, Grand Rapids created the wet burrito. That's why East Beltline place?
Beltline Bar?
Yeah, the Beltline Bar, they created the wet burrito. That's why they're kind of a big deal for some people.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Because the people that go there that I know, maybe it's just a generational thing, say that place is terrible.
It is. Like, I've been there probably twice, and there's a reason why. I love Mexican food. I've only been there twice. That's
Yeah,
bizarre.
but I hear it's not real Mexican food.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if they created something that's a new Mexican dish,
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
true.
real Mexican food, you know?
I still miss Taco Loco.
I do too. I have like fond memories there where like I went to Granville High School, so it was just around the corner. And there's times where I'll be at a high school football game and it'd be so lame. Like everybody there is being just the worst. And I'll be like, I'm just going to leave here and go get tacos.
Yeah.
So it'd be like 8:00 at night. I would just grab a couple friends and we'd go and get tacos and just enjoy the night. And yeah, I mean, that's all you could ask for out of a Mexican restaurant that was made out of a Burger King.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember, because I didn't start going there until I was hanging out with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
So just a few years ago was the first time I'd ever go there. Do you know why they closed?
I do. Yeah. So we actually try to help them find a different spot, like real estate wise. So it was a bad business practice, basically, is what happened. They had a chance to release it or like get a new lease on it because they didn't own the building. They leased it out.
Okay.
And when they got that new lease, they never basically read that email or did anything about it.
When they got a new lease, like they were going to go somewhere else?
Yeah, so like commercial leases, at least to my knowledge, as kind of residential, is like they're like 5-year, 10-year leases.
Yeah.
So they had that building probably for a good 10 years. Didn't think about when the lease was going to have to be renewed.
Oh, that's okay.
And they just never renewed it. So then they sold it to a gas station, whoever owned the property.
And now they're gone forever.
It's gone. Although they're okay.
No.
So this is really interesting. The people that worked there, they work at this new place that's exactly like it.
Really?
Yeah.
Where is this new place?
Byron Center and 56th Street, called like New Mexico. Like the same guys.
Wait, is it called Little Mexico? By Manelli's?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tucked
it's
back there?
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't know that was them.
For lunch, they have that same situation where you can pick everything you'd want on it and basically like a Subway for Mexican food. Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
It's worth
Because
it,
that
yeah.
place was bomb.
Yeah, it is good. That's like my new Sunday spot, Sunday after church.
Are you still going to Res on Sundays?
I am. Yeah. I go with
Okay.
my families. I just sit with them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's been good. It helps that like obviously like my brother-in-law, he is he works there as a pastor.
That's right, James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has some ties there. And I don't know. I think church, a good part of it is community.
Yeah.
And like I have, all my friend or family friends go there. So we'll go there and we'll see like 20 different people that we know. So, I think that's a big part of it too, is just
Yeah, the
seeing those people
community.
again. Yeah.
I'm starting to get into a little bit more of the community at the new church that I'm going to, but it's difficult.
What church are you going to?
I go to a small Baptist one in Byron Center.
Okay.
Yep, it's on 76 in Byron Center.
Okay. Yeah.
And No, I'd get the numbers wrong. I'd probably say there's only 50 people, but there's way more than 50. It's
Okay.
probably realistically maybe 200 to 300.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's small.
Like same size as like youth group back in the day, would you say? Or more than that?
Youth group back in the day?
Like our young adults that we were like co-leaders on.
Yeah, maybe a little more than that. But
Okay, yeah.
yeah, and there's only one service too.
Oh, nice.
So that's everybody that goes there.
Yeah.
But the reason why I like going there now is because it's more expository preaching, where you'll go to a chapter in the Bible and he'll just read that and that'll be the sermon. He doesn't just read it, he goes through it and what it.
I know what you mean though. Yeah. I like that preaching better too.
Yeah.
Well, this is so hard to talk about. Whenever I have like quarrels with anything with religion, right? And I mention this to my parents too. They don't understand that part of it.
Quarrels?
Like, yeah, like if someone does the opposite of that, where they mention like just like a sentence of the Bible.
Yeah.
And then they have a whole thing of how it goes into their like political views and da 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 da.
Yeah.
And you're like, did they really mean that by what you said? And I'll mention that to like my parents are like, well, everybody has their own interpretations of it. I'm like, this is true. That can be so, but like, should you be teaching it then?
It's true. And also for me, for the most part, I think most verses is like, there's one meaning behind it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, when we get into everybody has their own interpretation, it can get a little muddy because when Jesus says you'll have abundant life, if somebody takes that as, oh, you're going to be really, really rich, if you follow me, to me, that's like, it can happen. You can become rich, yes, but I don't think that's what he means. I think he just means by following him, you have abundant life. You're going to have eternal life, basically, is what he's saying. But I think if we get the wrong interpretation, we can go down.
Like things that we want as humans.
Yeah.
The whole hair grow type argument,
Kenneth Copeland thing where he's like telling them to put it on there. And
it's like, hair grow.
If you ever watch the video, there's like one guy who just like looks at the camera and he's just like, why am I here?
Yeah. Because he's bald too, right?
Yeah.
So he's doing it, and then he almost sees himself in the camera, and he's like, "This is dumb."
It seems like every time there's like some culty church like that, there's always one person who's just like, "What am I doing here?"
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
They got invited or something, and they're like, "This is not my jam."
But anyway, with my parents too, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
With the quarrels. Like, I don't think church should really be political.
No.
Ever.
No.
Even if it does sometimes align more with our beliefs, I still think that it brings us back to the Roman times when they thought that Jesus was going to come and overthrow the government, and that's not really what he came to do.
Yeah, I get that.
He's not a government official.
Yeah. I do think, that you should, whenever you vote, right, you should be thinking of your morals.
Yeah.
And definitely that goes with what it says, for me, at least what it says in the Bible is kind of what I see or get my morals from.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the hard part where it's like, I get it. My more issue is like the opposite of that, like how they were teaching at what you were talking about, where then the way that they could interpret it based off of the one verse that they did could be hundreds of different ways.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's just a little weird because you're like, okay, if they can do this, then what if they change their mind on what they believe? Maybe I believe in what they believe right now, but what happens if they change their mind? Are they going to then change what these verses mean to them?
Yeah.
And teach it? Because then we're just basically following their footsteps of what they think is best for every person.
Right.
Not saying that's what they do, but it's something that could happen.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm bet it happens today.
Yeah.
Where it can get muddy out there.
Yeah.
Nice. Take a nice drink.
Yeah. What is that?
This is Bellevue. It's Aldi brand LaCroix.
Okay.
I know everybody hates on LaCroix. I get it, but for me, it's just cheap.
And it's like nothing, on your body, at least in my mind.
Yeah. As far as I know, it's 0 calories and there's not weird chemicals in there. But how do they get the flavor? That's a question. Who knows?
Diluted lemon juice, something like that. They just put lemon juice in a bunch of water and mix around and.
Or there's always the joke where they put the lemon next to the can because there's no real flavor.
No,
but it can.
I drank LaCroix for a while. I really like the lime one for LaCroix.
Lime is good,
but you can't go in between LaCroix and pop. You just can't do that. You just have to commit to LaCroix. That's when it tastes best. If you're going from like Sprite then to LaCroix, you're probably going to be like, this LaCroix tastes gross.
Yeah, because the pop is so sweet, and then
just overly flavored.
Yeah, and then when you go to LaCroix, it's pretty much the opposite.
Yeah.
And so I get that. That's good advice, actually.
Yeah.
I think the people that hate LaCroix are the ones that are trying to, because it's always people who are trying to quit drinking soda.
Yeah.
And so they start drinking that. They're like, oh, this is terrible, so I'm going to go have a Coke. And they're like, but I got to quit. So they go back to the LaCroix. Oh, this is terrible. And it's a never-ending cycle.
You just have to commit to it and then drink a whole case. And then I bet you're going to buy another case after that and another case and another case. But
yeah, just drink one case without going back to the Coke.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But Coke is good. Coke is good. I mean, I'm a fat boy at heart, so it's really hard because having Mexican food and then having one of those glass bottle Cokes, it just feels right. It just feels like that's its place in my mind. Yeah.
I'm a fat boy at heart too. It's hard for me to.
That's crazy because I didn't know you when I've seen pictures of you beforehand. It's not like you're crazy fat,
but I was thick.
Yeah, you're a thick boy. Your neck and head was the same.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
So, but seeing that, but obviously I didn't meet you like that. So then it's just what? You were like that?
Yeah. It all started back in when I was 21 was when I started really getting into working out.
Oh, okay.
But I also worked at Jets.
Oh.
And
Carb land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was working at UPS too. And I was like, I'm going to start working out and I'm going to try to just gain weight. Because I thought that if you worked out, you could eat whatever you want. Because I remember seeing a video of Michael Phelps saying, this is what I eat for breakfast. And it was this huge breakfast. But he's also burning way more calories than the average person.
Yeah.
Because he's an Olympic swimmer. He has to.
Well, yeah. Your genes are part of it too. And
that's
if you
true.
have Olympic genes. Not saying that every person that is at that level just has killer genes and they don't have to work as hard as everybody else. Not what I'm saying. But
nice covering of the tracks. But yeah, I get it.
But at the same time, you probably have something in you that's helping you out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw that he was eating that much. So I thought that I could do the same thing basically. So I would eat a Jets slice, the ones that you get for lunch, those big old slices. I would have at least 3 of those a day on top of everything else I was eating. And each piece is 500 calories. So there's 1,500 already there. And then I would also be taking mass gainer and everything else I was eating in between.
That's crazy, dude.
I remember being 200 pounds at one point.
Yeah.
And it was harder to move.
Yeah.
But I was really big. I had I was like stocky fat.
Yeah.
Like, what do they call it in the Arthur show? It was husky, when Arthur was getting husky because they didn't want to use fat. That was like the beginning of PC political correctness.
Are you talking about like the
Arthur Reed, the aardvark. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about like the kids show?
Yeah, Mr. Ratburn.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I remember there was an episode where he couldn't fit into these pants, and so they came up with the word husky. So that's what I was, husky.
I like the word husky.
It's kind of funny.
Husky's good. Chubby bunny, I like that too.
Chubby bunny.
Yeah, you're feeling a little chubby bunny today.
Yeah, I'm gonna start using that one. Chubby bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a chubby bunny, chubby husky. You name it.
Yeah.
But
I like good nicknames like that. You know, was it my fiance when she plays like pickleball with me? We go and play pickleball quite a bit now. Just a nice little hobby. But she never bends her knees to like hit a ball. You know.
Yeah.
She just like bends over from her waist. So then I call her No Knee McGee, just because I feel like that's hilarious. Probably not the nicest nickname. Now I'm thinking about it, but it is hilarious. I'm like, oh, there goes No Knee McGee going and trying to hit the ball again.
Did she get really mad at you?
No, she thinks
I was gonna say
funny.
she did say yes to the Jess. So
She did, surprisingly.
you excited?
I am. It's a different step. I didn't know. She's a very interesting person in my mind. She's a fun person, which helps a lot. You know, I don't really ever get bored talking to her, being around her. You know, like, obviously you've been in relationships.
Yeah.
There's a point in time where you hit a relationship, at least in me in the past, where you almost know what they're going to say before they say it. So you almost do them just like...
Set them up.
Well, they're just going to talk about their day and how it was terrible and yada, yada, yada. And you know, like you get that call and you already know exactly what they're going to say. And you almost start to tune them out just because you're like, oh, I've heard this all before.
Yeah. It's Groundhog Day.
It's terrible. I don't like doing that. I don't like being that guy, but it's just the fact of the matter that does happen.
Yeah.
And she's like the first person I met where I don't really get that way. Where I'm
Even
like,
now? Whoa. Is that one of the things that made you know that she was the one?
I don't know if there was like an exact moment where I knew she was the one. She made it through the 3-date rule. That was huge.
Which is?
Okay.
Wait, were you still doing the thing where you drive around in the car and try to make it?
Yep, that's the 3-day rule. I'll mention it to them. So I did this thing where, you know, whenever I want to date, just because previous relationships weren't that great, you know, and I'm like,
yeah.
how can I, you know, I wouldn't know this until like 3 years down the road when it felt like it was too late at that point to do anything about it because they're already committed to this relationship in some regard. And I'm like, how can I weed these people out? That sounds terrible, but like, how can I make sure that I'm not going to get myself in the same situation that I seem to always be getting myself into?
Yeah.
You know, where it's like, you know, she didn't act like this 3 months ago, but now she's acting crazy. And, or like you know, and then there's fights. And maybe we pull it back together and we're together for 2 years and then it's over. Or maybe we just fight, and then it's over.
Yeah.
Or we don't talk to each other that great. So the 3-date rule is the first date, I would bring these girls on a drive. And the nice thing about the drive is it can be as long or as short as you would want it to be. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you can't go forever, you know, so, you know. Right. It's still a date, you know, you can't just like kidnap that person. But I would, you know, we would go get food, you know, maybe get like, we like go get cupcakes or something after the food, you know, have a good time.
Yeah.
And I think for me, also being an introvert, it would really help me because when I'm driving, I'm not thinking exactly what I'm talking about. You know?
Yeah, it loosens up a little bit. You can just kind of say, because you're not staring at them, trying to figure out what to say. You're focusing on one thing, so you can kind of just let these little funny things out.
Exactly.
That's what I've noticed when I pick them up.
Yeah. So I'll just be driving, and let's say it's terrible. We're fighting. First time ever me and this girl, we're already fighting. I can just turn around anytime and just be like, this isn't working. I'm dropping you off at your house.
That's happened before where you're already fighting in the first date car ride?
I've had that happen. Yeah. We were like,
that's wild.
Yeah. Or she'll just be nagging about like something like right off the bat with her day. And I'm just, it's not necessarily like, oh, well, she's a nagger. That's it. But like the things that she was nagging about was obviously like her fault. But she think like, let's just point fingers.
Yeah, but you don't want to deal with
and
that.
I'm like, this isn't going to work out. So I just,
Yeah, and you don't want to deal with that negativity right off the bat. Like there's got to be a little bit of a mask for the first date, I think.
Yeah.
Where you're a little bit more uppity.
Yeah. And that's why we have date number 2. Because date number 2 will cancel any of that out. And that's trial by fire. So there's a drive, and there's trial by fire. Trial by fire is you go to the busiest restaurant, the most annoying restaurant that could have good food. That's not a necessity on this date, but good food's always good.
Yeah.
But you want to pick the worst seat in the place. You want to do all that and just see how they react in a chaotic environment. Because that will happen in a relationship. There's going to be times where it's not going to be easy to have a fun time, but can this person still enjoy our time together?
Yeah.
That's a fun date just to see how they do. Like, I would bring them to Taco Corporal. You know where that place is on 28th Street?
I think I've gone there. Is that where you order it and then they bring it out to you?
Yeah, but you have to pay in that line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would pick the seat that the line always bumps into. So then there's a constant person right next to us. That it would just a random person would be just like talking to someone else right in front of us. So then it's always loud.
It's always loud in there.
It's always loud. It's so super annoying, and it's good food.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a little chaotic. And that's just good to see how they do in those environments. Because if it is someone that, let's say they're putting on a phase of it, that's when that starts to crack, if they're
starting to crack.
Yeah. If it's a bad time, or like it's not easy to have a good time in a situation like that, at least you can kind of see it at that moment in time. I don't know if this sounds bad. Like, I wasn't mean to these ladies, but like, I think it's just good to.
Well, when you're talking about spending forever with someone, you want to make sure that they're worthy of your time.
Yeah.
And why not get that out of the way in the beginning?
Yeah. Right. I just think it was this a smart way to start dating. It's like, obviously I want to show the best qualities of myself. I want to try to be as real with these people of who I am as possible. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't think I'm a bad guy. I'm not the greatest guy, but I'm not a bad guy. I try to be as, genuine with people as I can be and, open doors for everybody that I can. But like, I don't really know these people that, you would go on those dates with,
No, you have to vet people.
Yeah.
This isn't, there's a difference between, you grew up in a Christian home, right?
Yeah.
So I think in most Christian homes, we're taught that dating should be a little more intentional.
Yeah.
Versus just going out and trying to have fun. And
having fun doesn't work. I don't think so. At least in my mind.
No, it doesn't, because I definitely veered off the path for a time where it was like, well, I'm not going to follow intentionality. I'm just going to go out and
go on as many dates as you can, right?
Yeah. And just, let's just get drinks and see where the night takes us. And obviously
it goes exactly where you think it will go.
Yeah, this is rated E for everyone, so it goes where you thought it would go. But
Yeah.
So I think when you're more intentional, trying to get to actually know the person versus, oh, she's just hot and I hope this goes to something else, sex. But
well, yeah. And then also like for caring about the person,
yeah,
like for me, like maybe this is not a good thing to do, definitely in today's society. But if I start going on dates with the person, I'm going to start to care about them a little bit. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
It might happen. So if it's someone that even I think, oh, this is just for fun. I can't control if I just start caring for someone and then what happens? Now I care for someone that maybe I don't agree with on certain areas that are kind of key, I would imagine, to agree with when you're in a relationship. Like a long-term relationship with.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, you guys can talk those things out, but if it goes to like a moral level of things that you would like to, basically how your kids would like to be raised or different things like that, and you can't agree on that, where do you go from there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. So yeah, you want to be a lot more intentional.
Yeah.
And I think putting them in, it just sounds weird putting them in certain situations, but just
trial by fire, dude.
Yeah, feel them out.
Trial by fire. Just get that done with right away, And, the main part is like when you're doing these helps, it also, like for me at least, it allowed me to see how that process went before I committed myself to like fully into like that relationship.
Yeah.
Because I was weighing the waters first. Beforehand, you just kind of just see how it went. And then the last one was just have a fun date.
Number 3's.
Yeah.
Fun date.
Go on a fun date, see how it is like in the opposite environment of that. Go somewhere where she's going to have a good time.
Any suggestions?
Zoos, something. Axe throwing, different things like that. It could be just something that you have as a hobby.
The zoo does sound fun.
Yeah.
But back to pickleball, that seems to have blown up. It's everywhere.
I think Grand Rapids is like it's like in the top 10 for like most like active sport, like most like people playing it.
I wonder why. Is it because it's a little bit easier? Because it's not as hard as tennis.
No, it's not as hard as tennis, but it's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't think everybody else was going to think, oh, this is super fun. But it's like a mix between ping pong and tennis, right? Is that how you would describe it? Like it's like a big ping pong table, but you're actually able to go.
I would say it's tennis for old people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because in Byron Center now, when I hear it, because I can hear it from where I work at the park, it sounds like horses. Like, because there's so many people playing at the same time, it just sounds like their hooves on the ground.
And then like hitting the ball, it makes that weird popping noise.
Yeah. At least maybe it's the angle or something and the echo that makes it sound like that. It might not sound like that everywhere.
Yeah.
But I always think I'm like, man, what is going on over there? Oh yeah, it's pickleball.
Yeah.
We should play sometime. I'm
going tonight.
How is that? Is that the 6:30 thing?
No, I had to show a house at 6:30. It's a really cool house. I did the open house there. It's like a mid-century house, so it was like built in like 1954.
Was that the one that you just had a video on?
Yes, yeah. I'm showing that one again. It was owned by the same person since it was built. Right?
Yeah.
So the whole house is like stepping into like the 1950s. Nothing has changed. Like nothing. They still have like a table record player, with the built-in speakers and all that. Like they really did nothing to the house. Like carpet on the walls.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that a good look or is it gross?
It's kind of cool. It's weird. Like you can't do that nowadays. Because it would just never work for the house.
Yeah.
But for that age of a house, you could tell that, like, based off of the style of the house, it worked.
And they took good care of it, too?
They took good care of it, but the lady died who owned the house. So like over time you can see that certain things started being let go of,
Yeah.
She just couldn't take care of it.
And then not exact address, but what town is it located in?
It's in Granville.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes away from here. So, yeah, it's pretty sweet. Yeah, and it's on a pond too, so kind of cool. It's definitely different. I did the open house there, and there was like over like 200 people that showed up for it. This is the busiest open house I ever did. So the first 15 minutes, there was probably closer to 50 people inside that house. And I was texting people being like, I need backup. I can't do this by myself because I'm in charge of those 50 people. I'm supposed to be doing certain things during the open house.
Yeah.
It was chaos. Yeah.
Does it come with furniture?
No. Most houses don't.
Yeah, I know. I just didn't know if,
Yeah.
since the lady passed away, I didn't know if there was just like going to be furniture left in there.
I kind of hope that like they have no idea what they're going to do with a record player. I'd be kind of interested in that.
Does it still work?
I would imagine so. There's still records in it.
Ooh.
Yeah. There's like there's like hymns records. It's like old hymns.
Wait, you say record table. Is that the thing that you like flip through and then it just plays them like they had at restaurants? Or
No, I'm talking about like that plays vinyls.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can it's one of those ones you just take it directly off and put another one on?
Yes, yeah. But it's a whole table because of like the year of the house, It's not like it could be what it is today, which is like a suitcase.
Oh yeah, back then everything had to be huge.
It had to be huge. So
Yeah.
it's like it's a table. It's like this size.
That'd be funny if they had an old computer in there.
Oh yeah.
That was just, remember how they used to have to be huge?
Well, at that house actually, they have a spot for a TV, and it's like it goes back like 2 yards because of like how big the back would have had to be for it.
I wonder if they still sell TVs like that.
I don't know. Can you imagine if they still work? You can just like completely dedicate yourself to like the 1970s.
That's right, because everything is HDMI now. And those ones used to be like the yellow, red, and white plug-in. Yeah. I forgot what each one was, but there was video, and was it 2 of them were audio?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Red and white were, the red was right, white was left, and then yellow was the visual. Yeah.
I remember when I'd play old GameCube or PlayStation, that's what it was.
Yeah. GameCube. That was my childhood, dude. Like Tony Hawk, different things like that.
My game was always 1080 Avalanche, which was a snowboarding game only for GameCube.
Did they have the like Mario characters in that game?
Not the one that I played. I don't know if there was a remastered one where they did that.
There was at least a snowboarding game that had like where Mario would be on a snowboard. Dude, that was a game. I remember that, playing that when I was a kid. That was a good time.
Mario Kart Double Dash was one of the best Mario Karts in my opinion.
Mario Golf was on that system too. That was a good one.
Golf in video games never did it for me.
I love them.
Well, you also play golf in real life and I don't, so maybe has something to do with it.
Maybe, yeah.
But I could just never get in. Wii Golf, couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
But the best GameCube game was Sonic Adventure 2.
I never got into the Sonic games.
I didn't either, but this game was different.
Yeah.
It was one of those ones that was just like...
I feel like the MVP of my childhood was probably Redbox, though. Redbox, when they had video games and movies that you could rent out. This is like pre-Netflix. Well, Netflix was around, but it was like they'd mail you DVDs.
Yeah, I remember when Netflix would mail your DVDs.
Yeah, so it was like before that. Well, not before that part, but before they started streaming it. Redbox would do games too. That was the jam. You could rent out a game for a week, play it when you're a kid, beat it, and return it.
Could you beat them in a week?
I had a lot of free time on my hands as a kid. Yeah. I would say I would. I know there would be like Sonic games. There's probably like 4 hours of like game time to beat the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Netflix did video games today? Just you on the streaming thing, you just get it and you can play it.
They kind of do.
Do they? I haven't had Netflix in a while, so I don't know what it's got going on.
So Netflix has like apps where you can like play like mobile games on it.
Yeah.
And then they also have like different shows where you can pick out like how it goes. So you choose how the story goes. So there's like a Bears Grylls one. It's called like You versus the Wild. And you pick like there's like he either goes like across this river or he like through the water or he like swings across a vine across the river.
Okay.
And you get to make that decision and one will go terribly wrong and he like dies, right? And then the other one he'll like survive. And it's obviously like acted out. But
so he's got to act out every scene, different scene.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
It's actually kind of fun. It's super cheesy. But yeah,
I feel like that'd be part of the appeal.
Yeah.
If they tried to make it cool, I think it would ruin it. But I bet they'd purposely kind of make it a little bit more cheesy just because, I don't know, it just adds a little bit more of a humorous aspect to it.
Yeah. And they'd be like dropping vaccines off of to this village in the middle of nowhere, and that's what you're doing, how you're going there. It's like, you were just in a helicopter. Why didn't the helicopter go 3 more miles this way where the village is and just drop them all for you?
Plot armor,
Yeah.
They got to add stuff for the plot.
Yeah, I guess so, but that's where my mind goes at least.
Well, you can't do that with your mind, otherwise you're going to ruin every movie.
I don't know. Most movies nowadays, for sure. But
yeah, they're terribly written.
Yeah.
Not fun anymore.
I like movies that like it gives you so much anxiety because you know the person's making the wrong decision over and over and over again, and then it just blows up in their face at the end. There's like some movies like Good Will Hunting where he keeps on making the bad decision. He has this amazing gift of like knowledge.
Yeah.
And then he just keeps on blowing it. Just like blows it with a girl that was like the girl of his dreams, super like awesome girl that gets along with all his friends and makes them all laugh. And then he just like throws her into a wall and like starts like yelling at her. It's like, dude.
I feel like it's more realistic though. Maybe not necessarily the throwing her at the wall and yelling at her, but the constantly messing up part of life.
Oh yeah.
Until you finally get it, or you finally don't. Some people never get it. They just keep running through the same circles, and it just never gets better for them. But
can you imagine someone else watching you in like third person? They're like, dude, why do you keep on doing these dumb things?
In some way or another, they do if they're watching on YouTube.
This is true. If you are on YouTube,
if they're watching me somewhere else, I'd be a bit creeped out. Yeah. That would be funny if somebody was texting me like, dude, why do you keep doing this? Like, how do you know that? And it's like, oh.
Well, I'm kind of watching you from a drone like 3 feet above your head. No.
Constantly in the house, watching you while you sleep. You really should sleep on your back instead of, that would be the creepiest one.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think about that type of stuff a lot too. That's weird.
Really? You ever feel like in the Truman Show?
You ever thought about that? Like, if that could be possible for you?
Yeah, I think anybody who's seen that movie has thought that.
Yeah.
Like, could I be in some weird simulation? Am I going to hit the wall at the lake? Because I've never swam that far out in Lake Michigan. So technically, I don't know.
Yeah, and if you go on a plane, how do you know that you're not just like in a tube where it's like green screens around it? So you think you're like in the air, but you're actually just like on the ground.
Sometimes flying is unbelievable.
It is.
Because I just got back from Memorial Day, we went to New Hampshire, hiked Mount Shakorowa, and I flew there with my sister. And I knew you went above the clouds, but at one point we were so high above even the clouds. I was like, what on earth?
Yeah, everything's white.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
just felt surreal to me.
Yeah, it is weird. It's weird that like we created that too.
Planes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're like, this is all like a really good idea. We should like send hundreds of thousands of people up each day into the sky and then just hope that everything goes how we think it's going to go.
And then if some weird politician does something wrong or somebody's a whistleblower, one of those flights is just going to disappear.
That's a crazy thing. That like guy who died because he's like trying to.
The Boeing guy?
Yeah.
Well, no, he just felt so bad after whistleblowing that he killed him.
Yeah. He's like, I know like I have obligation to all these people, but I'm just feeling really sad today. So all this obligation I have to people's safety, I'm just going to,
Yeah. That's what really happened.
Yeah.
But that is really weird. Realistically, that he did that and then all of a sudden he had suicidal thoughts.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird things. Yeah. There's a guy who like created a engine out of like water, like where it would run on water. And then he like said like his last words were, "They poisoned me." And then he died. And then everybody's like, "Oh, that was super weird. Well, I guess we'll just keep on using these gas engines."
That is crazy. It's weird that money is just that powerful to some people, because if we started using water for engines, the petroleum industry
They're done.
is done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of money is going elsewhere too for all those people.
What do you think about like the whole electric cars thing?
What do I think about it? As in, like, do I want it to happen or
Yeah.
no? First of all, I mean, I can't prove it, but I don't think that we have the grid for that.
Yeah.
Electric. If we went all electric. Do you have to take that?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
No. Do you hear about like China and what the tariffs that are going on right now? I don't know how much you follow up on that.
No, I don't know.
So Biden just did 100% tariff on China. The reason why he did it is because they released a new car that's electric, but guess how much the price of it is?
How much?
$9,000 brand new.
Of course, he put one on for that.
So like,
I think I saw it. It's pretty
to.
cool.
He had to, because if he didn't, Ford, Tesla, all these companies, American-made companies, are all gone. Like,
well, all those
in a
companies
year.
have been screwing us over anyway, so.
Yeah, but they'd be gone. And the thing is because they have all the minerals there in China that they're mining, which we don't mine here in America. They're mining those there, so all their cars, they don't have to pay any taxes on those, like mining there. So that's a different part, because all those different minerals that they need, they already have them. So that's why they're able to make cars so cheap there.
Well, I wish I could have one. For $9,000, a brand new car, I would do it.
Yeah, which I mean, a brand new car here, right? $30,000,
Yeah.
like minimum.
Yeah.
Even with that tariff, 100%, what would that make it? 18?
Yeah. Because it would double it technically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's still not terrible.
No, that's pretty dang good.
The only thing I have against electric motors is first of all, right now it takes a long time for them to charge.
I don't understand why they don't have it where they have like a system where it's like a gas station, right?
Yeah.
And they have it where it just pops out the battery, but you can only do that with a certain key that's at those stations. Pops out the battery, puts in a new one, bam, you're back on the road.
And then, or even the ones that are being used, just charges those ones while they're sitting in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you get a special key when you get an electric car.
Yeah.
And then that's a good idea.
Well, there's like a way that you could charge at home, but if you're like on a trip, there's spots for you to stop at that would just pop in a new battery for you.
Yeah.
And it's just like a service that you would have to pay for.
Or have solar panels. Well, then the car would look lame.
It would look lame.
Yeah.
Or really cool. It just matters on how they could form those panels.
Yeah.
If it's boxy,
if you could have enough for them to power it up, because I feel like you'd need quite a bit to keep it running.
Yeah.
The other problem is are they as strong as gas engines right now?
They have more torque.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why they can go to like 0 to 100 most times faster than.
Because the Teslas can do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it just doesn't sound the same. That's one thing.
My biggest thing is like manual cars, like your stick shift that you used to have. Those are gone already. Like Porsche they already like said this is our last stick shift car.
That really stinks because I just like them because they're fun.
They are fun.
Yeah.
So like horses, those are gone, right?
Yeah.
Like horses used to be everywhere. They're gone. Manual cars are gone. Automatic cars are next. They're going to be gone. And then it's just going to be a car that drives you around. It'll be really great for most people, but it's not going to be fun.
No, and I don't know if I would trust a car to drive me around.
No.
I know that people get in accidents too, but technology fails because it is made by imperfect people. Mm-hmm. There's things in there that can mess up. I was just driving the work van the other day, and I bumped into something because normally when you're backing up, it beeps if you're even 10 feet away from something.
No.
But if there's dust on the sensor or something, it's not beeping, so I'm just backing up because I thought I was good.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, and I'm like, wait, what happened? And then,
well, I like show houses like in the like northern part of Michigan, and there'll be like areas where it says that there's a street there, but then like let's say there's erosion that happened. It's like a dirt road, and the road has just gone off into the lake nearby. I've seen that happen.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So would it just,
do the
Michael
thing.
Scott you into
Michael
the water?
Scott.
Like, would that actually happen?
It probably could happen.
I guess like if it has cameras and it sees it, it could just stop you. But like I don't know if I would want that.
Yeah, I just don't like having something else being in control.
Yeah.
Just like I do get a little bit of anxiety getting on a plane because it's like I'm not piloting it. My life is in someone else's hands. And even though planes are generally safe, it's still that it's not me flying the plane. Obviously, I don't have a license, so it doesn't. That guy's going to be better anyway. But I'm just saying it's like not me controlling it, so it kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah.
How far north do you go to sell houses?
I go like up to an hour and a half away from Grand Rapids.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you don't make it quite to Traverse City?
No, I don't make it to Traverse City, but I've shown like houses by like Ludington before.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like Reed City. That's a nice area.
Reed City is right off 131 too, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so that makes it nice. Yeah. Or like Kalamazoo, Muskegon, those areas too. Muskegon's terrible.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The state park is really nice.
It is, but I just don't think it's recovered from like 2007. Like the crash.
The housing crash, was that what it was? Yeah.
It just hasn't recovered.
Neither has Detroit.
Yeah. You can buy a house in Muskegon for like $65,000 and it would be like a decent house.
Yeah, but is it worth it?
I mean, it matters. Obviously, like if your family's around there and you have a good paying job, sure. But like, I don't know. I go to Muskegon and I get sad. Maybe like, I guess I don't know.
It is pretty run down.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
The only thing that's nice when I go there is the state park, the beach.
Yeah.
Either PJ Hoffmaster, which I think is kind of by, And there's also Muskegon State Park because there's a cool place where if you can either take a left or a right. Left is to the pavilion, right is a different way. If you go right, you can kind of park on the side of the road, and there's this beach over there that
a lot of investors though have been putting money into Muskegon. So I wonder what it's going to be like in 10 years.
Yeah, because it has potential to be a really nice place.
It's right by the water.
Yeah.
Has like plenty of hospitals in that area too. And yeah, it
has potential. They just need to do that with Rogers City too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been there.
No.
It's on the northeast side of Michigan. So it's on Lake Huron.
No, I don't go over to the east side too much. I only go there if like I have to go to like a concert in Detroit.
I drive to Detroit often for my main job, the welding job.
Yep.
And that's pretty sad too.
Detroit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're downtown, it's completely run down. Just garbage in the streets.
Well, like it seems like people just go to like downtown Detroit too to go to those types of venues.
Yeah. That's mostly why.
It's like a ghost town city. It's like a skeleton almost in my mind. Like you'll go there for like an event and there'll be only people there for that event outside.
Yeah.
That's just weird.
Yeah, it is. And then like everything surrounding it there, yeah. Like
everybody lives in the communities like a half an hour away from Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty scarce. That chair is squeaky.
It is, yeah.
I know. I want to get some gaming chairs for in here.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that'd be really comfortable if you could like have armrests and
I think it's good to have people a little uncomfortable.
Really?
Yeah. I think being uncomfortable is a good thing sometimes.
So keep the squeaky chair is what your suggestion is?
Yeah. Keep people a little uncomfortable. If you give people like that couch that you have behind you, like they're going to not be attuned to the conversation. They're going to just slowly sit back into it and disappear.
Yeah. Being a little uncomfortable is good. So, do you plan on doing real estate for the rest of your life?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's something you enjoy.
I do. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it changes so much. You know, I go through crazy houses all the time. So there's plenty of stories and different things like that. No day's like the same, you know, so
it keeps that would be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it keeps it nice for that reason. And then I get to have other hobbies too. Like I write poems. I like to go mountain biking and just do other things, you know. That's
something. Do you still write poems?
On
your Instagram?
No, I stopped that. I stopped that because a lot of my poems are fairly dark. I don't know. I feel kind of bad for having those
public.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yes and no, but I mean, they're not. Maybe I haven't experienced the ones that you're talking about that are really dark, but I don't think they'd be so dark that it's like bothering people. And if they don't want to see it, they can just.
This is true, but I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit into my own head. I just wrote a poem, right? And it's about, like the French went into Russia, right?
Yeah.
And most of them died from the winter.
Uh-huh.
I wrote a poem as a soldier in those times, and it's called Outlast. And it's basically him trying to outlast the next person because they were eating each other.
Yeah, maybe stay off the internet.
Yeah, so they were eating each other. So
yeah, wait, in your poem or in reality?
In real life, they were eating each other.
Okay.
And in my poem, I wrote it based off of.
Yeah, so it's based off of true.
Yeah, so it's like they were waiting for the other person to die, so then they could eat that person to stay alive.
Yeah.
So the poem is called Outlast because they're trying to outlast the next person who is bound to die before them.
That is very dark, but I also feel like there would be an audience for it.
Yeah.
Because it is realistic.
Yeah.
If you were coming up with that out of your head, I would be
I mean, I did. I mean,
a
I
little
wrote
concerned. Yeah, you did, but you also got the idea.
it. Yeah.
I'm saying if you came up with that idea on your own, I would.
Yeah. That'd be concerning. Well,
A
that's the
little
thing.
bit.
Like, but people wouldn't know that that was history.
That's true. And Stephen
So-
King is still out there. So you would, or Stephen King, whatever, however you say his name. He writes all those crazy, scary, whacked out books.
Yeah.
Nobody ever questions him.
I think they do. He was on cocaine when he did it. Most of those books.
Yeah, but he's not. Is he like outed by society?
No, I
That's-
mean, like he's
that's what I mean.
glorified. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like Edgar Allan Poe. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I really love his poems, and that's why, just because it's such raw emotion, even it's something that's like why is he talking about this?
Yeah.
This is something that like you shouldn't be talking about. Or acting kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like, did people think he was crazy? But then he was friends with like people that were like presidents. So like,
I should read his
yeah,
books, his poems.
he has a lot of interesting ones. I'm trying to pull up this poem real quick, see if I can.
I think
Pull
the
up,
the Raven is in this. Oh, look at that! I went right to it.
Nevermore. Yeah. I love that poem a lot. There's a part that he says, dream dreams that no man should be dreaming or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just like the insanity with it.
Some people are like, man, his poems are so dark, it's crazy. But also, you can use this. That's the Raven.
Yeah. Yeah, let me see if I can find.
People
not
are always
really
talking about how
up there.
dark his poems are, but then when you read some of the Psalms by David,
Yeah.
those are pretty dark too.
Well,
some
it's
of them.
supposed to be raw emotions in my mind. That's how I see it, at least.
Yeah, and people don't like that. It's
No.
kind of like a turnoff for whatever reason.
Doubting, dreaming dreams no more mortals ever dared to be dream or ever dare to dream before. I don't know. That's just such a like interesting thing.
Yeah,
What got me into poetry is when I was a kid, right?
yeah,
Like in elementary, I thought I was stupid, right?
yeah. You can just leave that there. It's
yeah.
fine.
I thought I was stupid. So I would go on to the internet and look up quotes of people, famous people, different poems, different things like that. So then I could memorize what they said to then sound smart.
I feel like it's a good idea, though.
Yeah,
Smart idea.
It was a smart idea.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, gosh, yeah. Because I felt like I sounded stupid. So I was like, all right, well.
Did you? Like before the quoting, did you?
I mean, I was in like special education classes. So like for like math, I had a really tough time with math growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a reason, you know, I felt like, I wasn't just being like on myself, like you're stupid
Right.
with no proof of it. Like I had pretty good proof that I was stupid. So, yeah. So yeah, that's something that I worked on. And just memorize poems, different parts of movies, different speeches from like presidents, different things like that. Just trying to sound smarter.
Yeah. And then how did that bring you to writing your own poems?
Well, with that, I was reading a lot of poems and memorizing things. There's a poem that I really like called "My Darling Sarah" by Shane Koshian, and he has this things where he says, "She has a throat like a vase. She sings her words into bloom. She strums my heart into tune." With eyes of recycled and blue, and every once in a while I'll catch her staring. And it's interesting because he's talking about him or her trying to make him a new thing, you know, try to fix him in a way.
Yeah.
And that's what the recycled and blue is, you know. But yeah, there's like a lot of cool things like that where you can kind of see what they're trying to say. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like, little hidden meanings.
Yeah, they are interesting because they're usually a little bit shorter. Some of them are long. The Raven is a bit longer, but I just started reading Walt Whitman.
Yeah.
If you know who that is, he's like an American poet from the mid 1850s.
Yeah. That's what I've been trying to copy is like older poems. Use different language in a way. Let me read this one. If I was able to outlast the rest like mold on spoiled fruit, I'm cautious that death will catch me too. The king will live from this Russian devil's winter chill, but I crawl into the hardened foreign snow to escape the wind on which I feel. Death follows our fleet, consuming those who consider this winter to be our defeat. I eat their flesh like death itself. To survive as a soldier, you must give up on your morals. Morals are for home and full bellies. You must kill that part of you. The best way to make it home is to have no home at all. I am no longer French. I am no longer a man. I'm a product of death. Other soldiers' thinned out bodies are keeping me from getting eaten by friends and family. I've caught them peering lately. I feel their breath wetting my skin as I sleep. I am certain I will be consumed before the cold changes the temperature of my meat. And I don't blame them. These men are no longer my brothers. Familiar church bells ring through the tired brigade of our reduced forces. The king who left long ago, hoping to soften the blow of the tragedy that kept their sons from coming home. My heart beats, but I also was left abandoned in that snow. Like blackened flesh that engulfs the edges of my limbs, I have amputated the parts of me that believed in God. The parts of me that hoped for a better day, to outlast the parade of death that consumes the warmth you thought you knew. You must lose what you thought you already lost. You had to come back home, or you had to come back to the home you used to know and crave the cruel snow that you left, wondering for the rest of your rotting life, what the heck was I able to outlast the rest? Or how the heck I could outlast the rest.
And that was you wrote that?
Yeah, I wrote that.
Wow, that's really good. Well written.
Yeah.
Outlast the mold. I liked that part.
Yeah. I like the, you have to give up on your morals.
Yep.
Morals are for home and full bellies. It's just such an interesting thing of like, when you're hungry, at least when I'm hungry, I get hangry.
Yeah,
right? I'm a different person. I don't like who I am when I'm hungry, So it's just like, what will you do when you get into that state? Like, who knows until you're in it? Yeah.
Yeah, what made you want to take that story and write a poem about it?
I watched the movie Napoleon. Short answer to that.
With Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah. Terrible movie. Don't watch it.
I heard it was terrible, but...
It was terrible. But that whole scene of him trying to like make up for it, because he's like hundreds of thousands of people died during that walk back. And he basically had like, he rode on a horse. No one else had horses. So he would ride on horses there so he could basically explain like, hey, it wasn't that bad. We actually won. We made it to Moscow, but we had to come back. And that's why he basically got like, he stopped being king after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was on the walk back where they were dying and...
Oh, yeah, the winter.
Eating.
There's like one day there that was like negative like 50 degrees. And like,
that's Russia.
They don't really have nothing back in those days. Like, no, like really good coats, like wool coats for everybody, maybe.
Unless you were Russian, right? Because Russians survived it somehow, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, they're used to it too.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy because I sometimes listen to this podcast called Real Dictators. And one of them is Stalin's story.
Yeah.
And he was robbing a train, so he got exiled to Siberia.
Yeah.
And he walked 50 something miles in Siberia in the bitter cold with no gloves and no boots or something like that. Like it was something that we would die if we wore it.
Yeah.
But he was fine. Then he realized he couldn't make it, so he had to turn back to Siberia and go back. And then he somehow escaped again. But just the thought of how they can survive that much cold is just crazy to me.
Yeah. Well, like, can you imagine, like, also, like, the frostbite that you would get? You just have to live with that for the rest of your life.
If you didn't die, yeah.
Yeah, and then, like, also back in those days, like, bathing was, like, looked against. Like, if you bathed, you were dirty. Is that weird? Like, that's
definitely weird.
Because, like, when they would bathe, right?
Yeah.
They would bathe in, like, a certain pond, and everybody would bathe in that pond. Well, then all those diseases stay in that pond, so people would go to that pond and bathe.
Mm-hmm.
They would just be putting on everybody else's filth.
Ugh.
Yeah. So then it was like if you bathed, most times it was like once every 4 months type deal. Yeah.
That's really gross.
That's where like the term like don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's because the whole family would have to wash, and it would start off with the husband, wife, kids going from oldest to youngest. So by the time that the baby went into the water, it was like black. So you wouldn't be able to see the baby in there. Hence, don't throw the baby away with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. People are gross, dude.
That is gross. I wonder if your body would eventually start cleaning itself if you didn't take a shower or bath, but obviously if the water is getting dirtier, then that's not the case.
Can you imagine? Like, if I don't take like a shower every day, I feel gross.
I can go one day without doing it.
Yeah.
But I think that's because I weld. So any day I weld, I have to shower.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a day where I don't weld, it's like that's a clean day for me.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, but I can't imagine getting to the 2-day mark. Yeah.
Your hair starts feeling different.
Yep.
Yeah. No way.
That's how it was in New Hampshire, though. I went 2 days.
I guess, like, on vacations, it's...
But there was also a hot tub, so I kind of considered that a little bit of a...
I would say so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of gross thinking of a hot tub that way, but...
But when you're in that situation, and it was with my entire family.
Oh.
So it was four out of my 5 siblings went with this, and then there was four kids of their kids total that went, and then my mom and dad. So there's a lot of us. So I wasn't going to wait in line to take a shower too much.
I sold a house in your parents' neighborhood last week.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like telling them, like, oh, I know the people that live right over there. They're really nice. Yeah.
Was it on the same street too?
It's on the street, like, so your parents' house, right? The street, and then there's like the backyards of those 2 people, and there's another street.
Yeah.
So it's on that other street.
Gotcha.
It's like a dead end road. Yeah.
Oh, yep. Nice.
Yeah.
Was it a new couple with a small child?
No.
Because that's all that moves into Byron Center is new couples, pretty much.
I mean, they're probably married for like 2 years, so newer, but they don't have a kid.
Eli just got a house.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Him and Kaylin are now homeowners.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm pretty sure they bought Kaylin's parents' house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I want to move out of Michigan.
Why?
It's just such a why. I just like I want to live in Arizona for a little bit.
That's a mistake, dude.
It's a mistake.
I would say so.
Why?
I don't know. Because like, okay, they have like natural springs, right?
Mm-hmm.
No beaches. if you wanted to go to the beach, it's like a day journey there just to get to the beach.
Well, I don't need a beach.
You don't need a beach, but it's a nice thing to have.
It is a nice thing. And I'm not saying I'm going to live there forever.
Yeah.
It would just be cool to do there for a year.
Yeah. But like if you're in Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Like you're also have to think about like it's going to be hot, very hot there most of the year. So if you want to be outside, most people that like live there, at least in my mind, how I see it, it's like there's like people that seem like they're surviving there, and there's people that have pools. And if you don't have a pool, you're surviving. You're surviving there. So get a place with a pool at least. Then I'll come visit you. That's my thing. Also, I want you to stay here. So just don't move, man. Don't do it.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking because my buddy John just moved to the UP.
Okay.
And that's another place that I would like to move.
That's a
mistake.
Yeah, I would say that's a mistake.
Why is that?
There's just nothing around.
Yeah, but are you a city person?
No, I'm not a city. Well, I grew up in like a neighborhood, so I would say maybe. But like, can you imagine the idea of like, okay, you get home from work, right?
Yeah.
You want some food when you get home from work. You get to your house, no food, right? You're like, okay, well, maybe I should just be lazy and order food. You can't do that unless there's like a pizza place nearby, like a place nearby. If that's not an option, you have to go to the grocery store. Now the grocery store, based off of where you live, and obviously there's like towns there. It just matters where you're at in the UP, but the grocery store could be 45 minutes away.
I said UP, not Alaska.
No, this is the UP though.
I know it's not that bad.
Like
though.
I know realtors that are there, and they have to cover the whole UP just to like make an income.
Oh,
because there's just not a ton of houses.
Yeah, but if I could find something that I like, a welding job up there, which I'm sure I could, or logging.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't need. First of all, there's always a pizza place in most towns.
This is true. Pizza keeps people alive.
But I also don't think that I would move somewhere where there's nobody. I'd probably be around Marquette or Escanaba.
Yeah. But the winters, dude, there are brutal. I'm really trying to keep you here. But
I know, because my other place would be New Hampshire, and the winters there are brutal too.
This is true.
Yeah, but I see, the thing is I love the mountains.
Yeah.
And I know the White Mountains aren't super.
Yeah.
It's nothing to brag about. Although Ethan Scudder did say that they're some of the harder ones because they're just straight up. They're not as much switchbacks. So you're just going straight up these mountains. And they're pretty high. You can see a ways when you're up there. It's still fun. Yeah.
Places I would like to think about moving to, right?
Yeah.
One would be Tennessee.
Tennessee is a good one. Smoky Mountains.
Smoky Mountains. Those are great. Plenty of trails, plenty of waterfalls everywhere too there. Yep. So that's really great. And just weird people, but cool people at the same time. Good mix.
Unless you get to Appalachia weird, but yeah, continue.
Maine's beautiful.
Dude, when we were visiting,
like UP is like, it's like a
sliver of Maine.
It's like the Olive Garden of Maine, dude.
When we were on this New Hampshire trip, since I flew with my sister, we had more time because we flew into Boston and drove. And we went to Kittery, Maine.
Okay.
Badger Island, and had lobster there. I'll never forget it.
Gotta go to Acadia.
I want to go there too.
That
National Park.
It's really cool. There's a hike called Beehive. And there, it's like the same as New Hampshire when it comes to mountains. And there's like ladders, like steel ladders that had to be like nailed into the actual mountain. And that's how you hike there. Like that hike is just you literally climbing a ladder, going up like a edge. So cool. And then there's old sailboats everywhere, old lobster boats on like a whole bay there. So you're watching the sunset because it's on that side of,
Well, it's on the east side of the state, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, you have that, but then you still get like nice golden skies during those.
Yeah,
moments. It's really
that's
cool.
true. It doesn't necessarily need to be over the water for it to be a good sunset.
I guess you're right. Yeah, it is on the east side.
But you'd have the sunrise.
That's lame.
Is it?
I don't know.
I've never seen one on the ocean. It might be cool.
Yeah, I know, but you have to wake up so early.
Well, I'm an early morning riser.
It's way easier to stay up, later than wake up earlier.
I love waking up early.
I've been trying to wake up. I've been waking up at the same time every day ever since I started this job, and I've been trying to switch it up to 6 a.m.
How have you been doing with the weight loss thing, exercising?
Bad. I did good for like a week, but then I got sick. And this is my week after I was sick.
Sickness has always killed me too. But
yeah, like my sinuses were just filled. So then I had a terrible headache.
Yep.
I'd get super dizzy. And also I could like barely hear anybody. So that was just a killer. So I didn't work out last week, which I also felt bad. I don't know. When I work out, I feel like a different person. And I don't know if I like that person necessarily, but it's definitely different.
How so?
I don't know. I get more anxious about things, and I get a little bit more irritated, like irritable on certain things.
I do too. I think it's the raise in testosterone.
I think so.
I'm not as much anxious, but the irritable.
Yeah.
But then for me, it's like I just have to go and lift more and push myself to get rid of that aggression, because I've realized that I naturally have a lot of aggression, especially nowadays, I think, because I'm not like chubby bunny.
Yeah.
So I think when you burn that fat, your testosterone does raise a little bit. That's bro science. I don't know if that's real.
Yeah.
But lately, there has that aggression, so it's like I have to go and work out even more to get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. But yeah, I feel that. But Lawrence and I have been walking on Saturday mornings, if you ever want to come with us.
I'll be down for it.
I think we usually go at like 7 a.m. I know that's early, but...
No. That's good. Mm-hmm.
And then we just talk and walk.
Lawrence is a really cool guy.
I know.
Yeah.
He's been on here. I think I have 3 full episodes with him now.
Yeah. He's wicked smart.
I know.
Yeah.
It's hard. Can't debate him on anything. I've given up.
No. I'll be debating him in my head for like days afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can make some good points
then
days
I'll make
after.
some day. Then I'll be like, And then I come up with something to say, but it's like, oh, wait, that conversation was like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like a month ago. It's like, oh, well.
I also like him because he does challenge me and a lot of my beliefs a lot too. Yeah. Not necessarily change my mind or make me believe what he believes, but he at least is able to challenge me. And I think that's important.
I think that's why I like to debate his ideas in my head too, because that's that challenge too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really easy to debate in my head.
Yeah, because he can't respond.
Exactly.
Yeah. I would love to like call him like 2 days later and just give him my response and just see what he comes up with next.
Yeah, and he always has an answer.
He does, right away.
I don't know how. I want to get to that point where I can just, like Ben Shapiro level debate. Even if he's wrong, he at least says something.
Yeah.
And it's quick. And it at least will sound good. But me, it's like...
Ben Shapiro sounds good because he's quick.
Yeah. Right. It's such a fast, confident answer.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you really start to listen to him and it's like, I don't know if he's right.
Well, listen to him like on 0.5
I've done
speed.
You told me. Sounds drunk.
He sounds drunk.
Yeah, it's funny.
And like even the words he uses, you're like, oh, all right. Well.
Yeah.
It's a weird way to explain it. Yeah.
But I feel like in most of my interactions, my mouth is faster than my mind. I want to do the opposite, where my mind is quicker. Where you can actually think and then say something, but it takes me forever to think of anything to say.
Yeah.
I want to be quick-witted.
Yeah. I think it's just practice, you know.
Yeah.
The more you talk about a certain subject.
Yeah.
He's been doing debate for a long time, so.
And podcasting has helped.
Yeah.
I've noticed I'm way better at conversations, even with random people at like a boardwalk, subs place or whatever. Like I'll sit there and talk and actually be able to have a conversation rather than just like, how's your day? Good. You? Good. And then have it be done. I can actually carry on a conversation.
So here's not to change the subject, but I'm going to change the subject a little bit. I've been telling my friends, you know, now that I'm engaged, I said, hey guys, definitely the ones that have been playing around, you know, playing the game when it comes to the dating game.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey guys, it's time to get serious here, because if you want to like raise kids together, gotta get on it. Gotta start making that moves. Is that a bad thing to say, would you say?
And does that sell them on it?
I don't know. It's just a fun thing for me to say. It's like, dude, our kids need to be friends. So get moving on it.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
To say, especially because I just don't think that dating around is really a good thing.
No.
Just for mental health.
Yeah. I say it more of a silly thing, but it's kind of...
Well, I figured you were like joking around with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, especially if it's a joke, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. Yep.
I think it can be a little bit humorous. Might make them think a little bit. Might be something they laugh at during the time, but then say when they're at home, they think about it. Like, maybe he's right.
I don't care about that. I just like to poke at people. I love playing devil's advocate too a lot of times. Like if I'm mad about something, I want to debate someone on any topic. It doesn't matter what point I have to take on the issue. I feel like I could kind of argue both sides on whatever issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always a good thing to be.
Yeah. Like I'll tell like Lydia, I'm like, all right, just pick any debate. Let's talk it over. And like we'll have ones where it'll be like really be really fun. It's kind of like it's like South versus North, Civil War. Who was right? That's a card. Like that's a hard one to like
argue
debate.
for the South.
Well,
Is that where you? Is
no,
that who
no.
you,
I'm not saying I'm with them or without them. I'm just saying like trying to debate each side, even if you don't care about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What side do you usually take?
What side do I normally take in that debate?
Yeah.
Well, I let Lydia always pick first in those types of instances. I like it. It's a fun game for me, but I don't know if she likes it. But well, I say if it is that debate where I am the South, I say, well, first thing, I don't agree with the whole slavery side of it, but the state rights part, I get that. I get why you'd fight over that.
They were fighting for state rights?
Yeah.
Like each state to have its individual...
rights to make their own laws.
Don't we have that now or no?
Partly, but we have a lot of the federal government that makes big decisions for each state. Like for instance, like medical wise, is because of John F. Kennedy. He didn't like how his sister was treated. Yeah. She had a lobotomy done.
Yep. They were just talking about that on...
Yeah. So he didn't like how that was done, so he switched over to for it to be a federally done issue. Yeah. You know, not on a state level, but a federal issue. And basically that's what they wanted to do with slavery. That's why. Because they didn't want it to be a state's choice like it was before then. That's why there was the North and the South, is because the kind of the north side of the country was all in agreement that it was morally wrong.
Yeah.
And they wanted the whole country to make that decision then. And the only way they could do that is by making it a federal thing. So I don't agree with that part. But the idea of everything being more on the state level,
Yeah.
I agree with.
Yeah.
But I think that's just for me because I think smaller government is a better government in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons.
Yeah. Just more checks and balances.
Yep.
Yeah. 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 And and like how like people act in Boston is different from how people act in California. It's a different culture.
Yeah.
It's like we can't treat those people the same. You know, these people never have winters. These people, like, it's gray there every day.
Boston?
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gray. They have terrible winters.
They're all angry.
They're all angry, but they're like, you know, they're together. Like Boston Strong is a thing and all that. Like they're together. They're a unit because they have to survive through it. But
I think
can't
New
treat 'em the
England
same.
in general is kind of like that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when I was in Maine, it's like the waitresses were a little bit rude where we were.
Yeah.
And then the people, just the F word is every other word for them.
Yeah.
But it's normal for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all like stick together. And where they're at, it's not technically rude. It's just who they are.
It's more of like a brotherly love type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They love
Exactly.
each other, but they're going to be mean to each other at the same time. It's like the opposite of California because I feel like in there, or some people, not everybody, but some people, it will be a situation where maybe they're nice to you, but then maybe they have bad intentions in the end, or they might be a different person when you're not around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So I'd rather have someone be mean to me, like to my face, but then care about me.
Behind your back.
Yeah.
That's the way to be. Anyway, I got to go to the bathroom and you have to.
I got to go on an appointment. So
Yeah.
we can just wrap this up.
So, yeah, it's a perfect time to end it. Thanks, everyone, for listening and have a blessed week.
See ya.
Bye.
Oh, sweet, dude.